The following content does not reflect the opinions of Fox Sports Radio. The guy who picked up this show has already been fired.
Top story.
Yeah.
First out the gate, the 49ers getting blown out by the Ravens, just as we predicted. If you don't remember us saying that, well, that's on you. Terrible memory. But the biggest story here, 49ers quarterback Brock Purdy came into the game against the Ravens as the leading pick for MVP, mainly by morons. And now, after throwing 4 picks, he's considered statistically one of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL. But Tony, this has made people see everything in a whole different light, hasn't it?
100%. You know, people blamed the Eagles last year when Brock Purdy got knocked out of the NFC Championship. But now people are seeing that the Eagles were actually trying to help the 49ers. You know, just to keep the game somewhat competitive. As official spokespeople for the Eagles, we will say that if the Niners want us to knock Brock Purdy out of any potential playoff game, we will be more than happy to do so.
Absolutely. And by the way, you know, that wasn't Brock Purdy's only rough performance that day. You know, in the post-game presser, Purdy told reporters that he knows he needs to improve his play and said, quote, "I have to look myself in the mirror and ask why or how that happened." And Tony, this is very problematic, isn't it?
Extremely. Brock Purdy clearly doesn't realize that if he looks at himself in the mirror, everything is going to be backwards. Left is going to be right. Right is going to be left. That's only going to make running plays even more confusing. I think this is a very poor leadership choice and truly shows Purdy is heading in the wrong direction. If he even knows what direction that is.
Terrific optometrical analysis there, Tony. And also the overrated, pathetic 49ers. They now find themselves at 11-4, just like the Eagles and Lions. But San Francisco still has the 1 seed and home field advantage.
Perfect.
But, Tony, we don't care about that in the slightest, do we?
Not at all. We don't want the Eagles to have home field advantage.
No.
We want road field advantage. When you're at home, you have to deal with your annoying family. You gotta run errands, do the dishes, all that wasted time bullshit. But on the road, you're in a cushy hotel. You got valets, concierges, housekeeping, HBO. We don't want to help the 49ers with strategy, but if I were them during the playoffs, I'd stay in a hotel in San Francisco and do a staycation.
Such terrific advice, Tony. We hope they actually ignore it, you know?
Thank you. Yeah, that's a good point.
Anyway, moving to the AFC, big news there where the Broncos have benched Russell Wilson and are reportedly planning to cut him in the offseason.
What a mistake.
Well, Tony, this just shows that once again the Broncos franchise is making a terrible decision, aren't they?
Absolutely. The Broncos are forgetting how their franchise won in the past by having quarterbacks who were extremely shitty. Tim Tebow. Peyton Manning when he was crippled and could barely walk. John Elway when he was nearing 50 years old. Frankly, I think if the Broncos could just hold on to Russell Wilson for another 5 or 6 years, he will be the right amount of shitty to win a Super Bowl. He's just not shitty enough right now.
Such smart NFL analysis there, Tony. And staying in the AFC,
Thank you.
Joe Flacco has the Browns just playing lights-out football after he replaced the injured Deshaun Watson. And, you know, this is some people wondering if Flacco will be the long-term replacement for Deshaun. And, Tony, when you lay it all out, it does seem to be a slam-dunk argument for Flacco, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Flacco has Watson beat in every important statistical category. Put up that graphic. Pass yards per game. Deshaun had 185.8. Flacco has 323.2. Touchdowns. Deshaun had 7. Flacco has 13. Sexual assault allegations. Deshaun has 23. Flacco, goose egg, 0. Masseuses. Deshaun is on number 248. Flacco still on his first. And finally, GER, genital exposure rate. Flacco is at 0.0% and Deshaun is at a whopping 99.7%. So there you go.
Can't argue with those numbers, Tony.
He jerks
and
off.
One final NFL story. Travis Kelce is under fire after people are saying his relationship with Taylor Swift is ruining his play on the field and the Chiefs' entire season because, he's only had one touchdown since they started dating and the Chiefs suck. But,
they suck.
Tony, these people, they just aren't seeing the bigger picture here, aren't they?
No. There's one thing that's more important than football, and that's true love.
Yep.
If Travis Kelce wants to sacrifice his entire career for Taylor Swift, then we wholeheartedly support that move.
Yep.
Even if it means the Chiefs have a first-round playoff exit, and both Travis and Patrick Mahomes watch their entire careers go down in flames.
Yep.
At least they'll have love. Well,
Yep.
Mahomes still will, but not Travis because Taylor will have probably dumped him by then.
Such heartfelt words there, Tony. And now moving
Thank
to the
you.
NBA, where Grizzlies superstar Ja Morant made his long-awaited comeback from suspension and took home Player of the Week honors after nailing that buzzer beater to defeat the Pelicans. And Tony, this is just a great lesson for all NBA players, isn't it?
Totally. People have been criticizing Ja Morant for fooling around with guns, but look at how good his shooting is now. His shooting is incredible. He was never afraid to pull the trigger at any point in the game. And at the end of the game, when he went in for that kill shot, boom, the Pelicans were dead. Game over.
Yep.
All players should take note. If you want to learn shooting, you got to practice without a basketball as much as with the basketball.
Terrific advice for all basketball players out there, Tony. And one more basketball
Thank
note.
you.
The Detroit Pistons, they broke an NBA record held, as you know, by the Sixers by losing their 27th consecutive game. Now, you know, people, they're going on and saying this is bad for the franchise, yada, yada, yada. But, Tony, that is not true at all, isn't it?
Not even a little. Losing streaks can be great for business. Just look at the Washington Generals.
Yep.
They've lost 2,567 games in a row, and people still go to the games in droves.
Yep.
In fact, they continue to sell out arenas and high school gymnasiums all across the country.
Just terrific perspective there, Tony. Should
Thank
make every
you.
Pistons fan feel much better.